This card was already average, but now it just got worse. And I'm not even trying to hate, but UFC 327 just doesn't make sense. And the thing is, this card was never even that stacked to begin with. There was no huge name carrying it, no massive storyline, nothing that made you just feel like, yeah, I need to watch this. It just felt average. But then, Joshua Van pulls out of the co-main event. And now you're thinking, okay, the UFC is gonna fix this like they always do. We've seen this before, nothing to be worried about. You know, Usman stepping in on short notice, Volk coming in against Islam on their second fight. They know how to deal with these situations because it's been done before. But this time, they don't. No replacement, no adjustments, no urgency whatsoever. And that's just where this doesn't make sense. Now don't get me wrong, Jiri vs Oberg is a solid fight. Jiri is always entertaining, he brings chaos literally every time he fights. And Oberg, he's a legit rising contender. But as a main event, it just doesn't really hit the same. There's really no story behind it, no build up, no real tension. And on top of that, there's no champion in the picture. Ever since Alex Pereira stepped away from the division, it feels like it's just kind of floating. There's no dominant champ, no one defending their spot, no real, this is the guy to beat energy. And that matters, because those are the fights that people are actually invested in. Champion versus contender, legacy on the line, something that actually feels important. But this, it just feels like a matchup the UFC created. It's a good one, but I honestly don't think it's main event worthy. But the real problem is the co-main event. Joshua Van pulls out, and now there's a huge gap in the event. And the UFC just leaves it, and there's no worthy co-main event to replace it. And on a numbered card, that's not normal. That's the kind of thing you expect them to fix immediately. Because that second fight, that's what gives the card depth. And that's what keeps the fans locked in until the main event. This whole card just feels incomplete. And what makes it worse is that it's not like they didn't have options. There's always fighters ready, and there's always matchups that you can make. You even had Pantoja posting on Instagram showing he's clearly in shape and capable of making the weight in time. And guess what? Nothing happens. No late replacement, no big push, no urgency to make this fight card feel important. And that's the part that really stands out, because we've seen what happens when the UFC actually goes all in. And this one in particular just doesn't feel like it. And this is where it starts to feel a little bit bigger than just one card, because we're starting to see more of this. Cards that feel lighter, less stacked, less important. And it feels like the UFC is currently just relying on their brand instead of the fights. Like they know the people are going to tune in anyways, so there's no real pressure to go all out every time. But that's not what built the UFC. The reason fans cared in the first place is because of the big moments, big matchups, cards that actually feel like events. And when you start getting cards like this, it just feels off. I mean, let's be honest. Paulo Costa against a no-name as the co-main event in the big 2026, that ain't running with me. And listen, I'm not saying this card is horrible. It just feels off. There are still good fights on it, but as a whole, for a numbered event, the hype isn't there. It feels rushed, it feels incomplete, like something's missing. And honestly, that's not what the UFC used to be, because this was the promotion that set the standard. And now, it feels like they're lowering it. So let me know what you think. Am I tripping? Or is the UFC starting to lose what made it feel special in the first place?